In 1970, George Harrison released My Sweet Lord on his triple debut solo album entitled All Things Must Pass. The song topped the charts and was the biggest selling single of 1971 in America and Britain. He's So Fine is a song written by Ronnie Mack. It was recorded by the Chiffons, who topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 4 weeks in the spring of 1963. He's So Fine was also a number 16 hit in the UK. And Billboard named the song number 73 on their list of 100 greatest girl group songs of all time. Ronnie Mack was battling cancer as his song climbed the charts. He would die at 23 long before George Harrison would record and release My Sweet Lord. On February 10th, 1971, Bright Tunes Music Corporation filed suit alleging My Sweet Lord was a plagiarism of the song He's So Fine. Harrison, who admitted to being familiar with He's So Fine, said that his real inspiration for My Sweet Lord was the Edwin Hawkins Singer's cover of the public domain hymn Oh Happy Day, which was released in the US in 1969. Did George Harrison steal My Sweet Lord from the Chiffons' He's So Fine? We're going to discuss this in a moment, but first, if you like what I'm doing, be sure to click a like, click subscribe, and smash that bell notification icon so you can know when I release new videos. I want to give a special thank you to my Patreon supporters who are making videos like this possible. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, please go to the Patreon page. There will be a link in the description. Patreon supporters receive early access to selected videos, exclusive behind-the-scenes content available nowhere else, and exclusive blog posts, once again available nowhere else. Okay, let's get to it. So how are these songs similar and how are they different? Let's take a look. He's So Fine and My Sweet Lord share a lot of similarities in how they are structured. Both songs start with a chorus, go to a verse, and then lead into a midsection. During the verse and chorus, both songs use a minor chord to a major chord interval, where the major chord is 4 steps up on the scale from its 1 chord. And on the aforementioned midsection, each song lands on the 7 chord of its respective scale and key signature. With He's So Fine, it's an A minor chord to a D major chord, and then landing on a G major chord for the midsection. On My Sweet Lord, it's an E minor to an A major chord, and then landing on a D major chord for its midsection. These chord progressions and their respective intervals are exactly the same. They are just in different key signatures, and that's all. They are phrased and timed almost exactly the same as well, too. I should mention that George Harrison does play My Sweet Lord with a capo on the 2nd fret of his guitar. This changes the key signature, of course, but it's still the same chord change. Also, some published versions of He's So Fine substitute the A minor chord for an A minor 7th chord. But that makes no difference because A minor 7th is just a variation on A minor. So now let's play a little bit of He's So Fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do-lang, do-lang, do-lang. Do-lang, do-lang. He's so fine. Wish he were mine. That handsome boy over there, the one with the wavy hair. Don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna make him mine. He's the envy of all the girls. It's just a matter of time. Then it goes to the next chorus and verse. By the way, if you think it's funny that I didn't change the gender point of view of this song for this demonstration, well, all I can say is I guess you think that's funny. So now the first thing I would ask myself is, can I sing My Sweet Lord to He's So Fine? Can I play the same chord progression on He's So Fine and sing My Sweet Lord to it? The answer is yes and no. First, I will attempt to play My Sweet Lord to He's So Fine. I will only succeed up to a certain point. 1, 2, 3, 4. My sweet Lord, oh my Lord, my Lord, I really want to see you, I really want to be with you, I really want to see you, Lord, but it takes so long, my Lord, and it suddenly falls apart, doesn't it? Doesn't quite sound right. This is because George Harrison utilizes a much more complex chord arrangement. Now I'm going to play My Sweet Lord, but I'm going to use the actual chord structures that were written for the song. Let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4. My sweet Lord, oh my Lord, my Lord, I really want to see you, I really want to see you, Lord, I really want to see you, Lord, but it takes so long, my Lord. So let's examine that a little closer. The first part of the song, My Sweet Lord, does use the same chord progression, albeit in a different key. But when we get to that midsection, if we played it, even using the same chords that George Harrison wrote for it, if we played it just like He's So Fine, when we finally do get to that midsection, we'd just be going, I really want to see you, I really want to be with you. But as you already know, that's not how it works. And his melody won't work if that's all you play. Instead, he does the following. I really want to see you. He goes down to a B minor chord there. I really want to be with you. Goes back to that B minor chord. I really want to see you, Lord, but it takes... This is an F sharp diminished chord right here. So long. That's a B7. My Lord, my sweet Lord. And then he comes back to that E minor, back to the A major chord. It circles right back around in a very nice way. Later in the song, George Harrison will modulate up to another key signature, but he will play the exact same chord progression that I've just shown you right here. At this moment, I do want to go off on a little bit of a side tangent. One of the complaints about a lot of today's contemporary pop music is that it all sounds the same. And that's because you've got music made by producers who are using the exact same beats per minute. They are using the exact same software plugins, the exact same patches, the exact same loops, the exact same drum beat patterns, drum loops, and they're writing songs with the exact same chords a lot of the times, or the exact same 4 chords. But the truth of the matter is that throughout the history of popular music, music artists have used and reused similar chord progressions. The difference has been that in the past, musicians would challenge themselves, or at least the really good ones like George Harrison, and the really good songwriters like George Harrison would challenge themselves. They would say, what can I do that's different? They know full well they're using chord patterns that have been used in other songs, but how can I do this differently? How can I use this chord progression and do something unique with it? And what I've just shown you here during the midsection of My Sweet Lord is an example of a musician challenging themselves to take something that is familiar and then try to add their own thing to it. Try to make it a little bit more different, a little bit more original. In my lifetime, I have written rock and roll songs that use chord progressions that other rock and roll songs have used, but I've always said to myself, what can I do different with it this time? How can I make it unique? As a music artist, as a songwriter, You should always be wanting to make yourself unique, different, stand out from the rest of the pack. And once again, George Harrison does this by taking this song, taking this chord progression where he could have just hung on the D chord, but instead added the variations. Okay, end of tangent. With all this said, even though George Harrison did employ a more complex chord structure for his song, I'm afraid it still wasn't enough in this case. While George Harrison did use a much more complex chord arrangement for My Sweet Lord, I think the real reason why you can make the case for He's So Fine and against My Sweet Lord is in how their vocals are structured, arranged, and phrased. Both of these songs use a call-out answer motif. In He's So Fine, it's the do-lang, do-lang. He's so fine, do-lang, do-lang, wish he were mine, do-lang, do-lang. While My Sweet Lord doesn't use the call-out answer motif during the first half of the song, it does use it in the second half, and they are both phrased in a very similar way. My sweet Lord, alleluia, oh my Lord, alleluia. We hear this in the chorus, which starts the song, and we also hear it during the verses as well. In his book, I Me Mine, George Harrison wrote, I wasn't consciously aware of the similarity between He's So Fine and My Sweet Lord when I wrote the song, as it was more improvised and not so fixed. Although when my version of the song came out and started to get a lot of airplay, people started talking about it. And it was then that I thought, why didn't I realize? It would have been very easy to change a note here or there and not affect the feeling of the record. At the end of the day, George Harrison was found guilty of subconscious plagiarism, meaning that the judge did not believe that he did it deliberately. However, whether you plagiarize consciously or subconsciously, you are still guilty. And if you carry any skepticism about the possibility of subconscious plagiarism, let me tell you it's a very real thing. You can listen to a lot of music through your lifetime, some of it gets locked away, and then it comes out when you're writing and you don't realize it. And I know because I personally have been guilty of doing this, much to my personal embarrassment. In interviews, Paul McCartney has stated that when he first wrote Yesterday, he felt suspicious that he might have unconsciously plagiarized it. So he played it for numerous individuals, asking them if the song sounded familiar to them before finally recording it. In a Melody Maker interview, Ringo Starr stated, George was very unlucky. There's no doubt that the tune is similar, but how many songs have been written with other melodies in mind? George's version is much heavier than the chiffons. He might have done it with the original in the back of his mind, but he's just very unlucky that someone wanted to make it a test case in court. In 1979, George Harrison stated about the entire incident, I don't feel guilty or bad about it. In fact, it saved many a heroin addict's life. I know the motive behind writing the song in the first place, and its effect far exceeded the legal hassle. The similarities between both songs is striking. But what do you think? Do you think George Harrison was guilty? Or do you think he was just, as Ringo put it, unlucky? Please leave a comment and let us know what you all think. And what two songs should I examine next? Thanks everybody for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.